Hello Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel today. I'm very glad that you're here with me. As always, if you're here for cross stitch, you're in the right place. Today I'm going to go through the past 6 months in review. I'm going to share with you my finishes, my whips, and fully finished items that I've finished over the past 6 months. I'm doing that not only for you guys, but for myself so that I can see what I've accomplished over the past 6 months. I did it for the first time last year and I had a lot of fun, and I thought that I had finished so little, but when you review what you've worked over in the past 6 months, I saw that I accomplished a lot more than I had originally thought. I do want to mention last weekend I did not film a video. I got a little sick and I thought I had just had a virus, and it turned out I had vertigo. I was diagnosed with vertigo the middle of the week. It was pretty rough. I've never had it before, never been diagnosed with it before. Couldn't stitch, couldn't see. Even now I have a little bit of trouble focusing, so there's been no stitching going on, which is another reason today is a great day to go through the past 6 months in review. I'm hoping sometime maybe this week or by next weekend I'll be able to pick up my needle again and put some stitches in. It was a rough week. I don't know how many people out there actually experienced that. I know my mom has had it in the past. Every now and then it flares up. They diagnosed me with an extreme case of it. I could not tolerate light, motion sickness, dizziness. It felt like I was drunk for about 5 days and it just wouldn't go away. So I hope it stays away, that it doesn't come back. I don't think it works like that. But I will be seeing someone later on this week so that I can get further diagnosis and prepare for any additional episodes that may occur in the future. So just bear with me. Like now I'm looking towards the phone, but I can't fully focus. So if I'm kind of lopsided more than normal, just know that'll be a temporary, maybe it'll be better in the next video. That being said, let's jump right in. So I, like many of you, have a book of days, and I fill it out and I sticker it up and I keep track of things. So this year I had decided that I wanted to work on my whips this year. I have a lot of whips. I've not put a total on them because I don't need that negativity in my life. I like to finish things. I like to start things. I like to stitch. I like everything about stitching, just like all of you. I want it to be a positive journey, but the number of whips that I have accumulated since starting Flosstube had gotten out of hand. So I decided I wanted to work on them, not solely. I don't want to box myself in where I wasn't having fun with my cross stitching, but having those finishes is also an energy boost that pushes me forward to the next finish. So far, I've done really good this year. I've also made a push to fully finish some items, and I've been trying to fully finish items from not only from this year that I finished, but from previous years, and in ways I've never finished things before. So that in itself has been a nice journey. I've learned a lot. I've pushed myself outside of my comfort zone many times, and many of you have come along the journey with me. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you for continuing to watch these videos and watch me talk about my stitching. This month I have stitched very little. I have spent a lot of time in my yard, and due to my book of days and my Instagram post, I realized that on May the 10th is when we received our first pallet of mulch and began working in our yards. And so that's a little over a month ago, and I have stitched very little. So as the summer months come, I may go down to maybe doing one video every 2 weeks instead of one a week, because if I don't have the content to share with you, I'm sure you're not just here to hear me talk about it. You want to see what I'm up to, and if I'm not up to it, I don't have much to share. There's lots going on though outside in my garden. I have my son-in-law built a raised bed for me this year. It's my first. We have very sandy soil here. It does not hold water at all. And so certain flowers work really well, but we have been working in our flower beds for many years to add mulch and soil and things so that it will hold those flowers and they can thrive in those beds. I've wanted to do gardens many times. I've tried doing potted vegetables in small pots on my patio area. I've tried doing 5-gallon buckets, things at certain parts of my yard. As you know, sun is stronger and less shaded than in others. And we have, come July and August, the temperatures here are really high, but there's a very high humidity here in South Carolina. So everyone has their own climates and their own natural things they have to deal with, and those are things we deal with here. But as far as sand, I've never been able to grow a garden for that reason. My son-in-law, as a gift, built for Mother's Day, built a raised bed. I planted 8 plants: cucumbers, no, 2, 4, 6, that's right, 8. 4 different types of tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers. My cucumbers are like taking over the bed, and I'm loving it. I have to go out there. I didn't go out any this week because I couldn't go out in the sun. I couldn't tolerate the sunlight, and so they weren't getting the attention every day like they have been, and they just were latching on to other plants, and they were latching on to the bed itself. And so yesterday I got outside with sunglasses and was able to get a bamboo trellis for them to grow on, and then I go back out today and so many have latched their little vines onto it. Anyway, I'm just enjoying it so much, going out every day and seeing what's new, seeing how much it's grown. I've really been watching a lot of gardening videos. I have potted different herbs. My mint is just taking off, and if you've not noticed, I did a video earlier today for Patriotic Stars. I wanted to decorate the fence in my garden area, and I'm hosting for the first time in over a year my closest friends over. We get together for either cards, crafts, or coffee, pretty much. And I'm going to host them in 2 weeks, and so I'm going to host a craft, and that's what I wanted to do. And our daughters are all of age now that they enjoy those kind of things, so they'll tag along with the moms. And I wanted to refresh myself with how I did the craft. Anyway, I'm saying a lot to say. If you watch that video or see that picture where I mentioned that tutorial on my Instagram page, there is a potted plant sitting on the table that is just mint. It was a little bitty mint when I purchased it. It is a big mint, and I'm so happy. My rosemary is thriving. My oregano, my thyme, they're thriving, and I have them in pots with other plants to deter pests, which I've been reading up on that. Well, all of that to say, I'm enjoying it very much. I enjoy my cross stitch, but right now it's growing season, and I'm enjoying watching nature do its thing. So there will be less stitching, and I'll pick that back up in the fall along with my crochet. So if I'm more sporadic with my videos and not every Sunday, just know I'm okay. If something was wrong, I'd pop in just quick enough to say that or mention it on my Instagram, but I'm okay. It's just growing season. I'm going to be a growing season non-stitcher. Anyway, let's jump into my 6 months in review. So as I said, whips, we're working on whips this year. We're working on finishes, and as I show you my nails, if they're dirty, I'm sorry. Finishing a couple of stars today. I've got wax under my nails. By the way, real quick, those stars, I got the one from the video finished, got it waxed, got things painted for another, and my husband liked it so much he took it right out and put it on the garden gate door. So I want to make, when I make the next one at the get together, because it was a kind of off center, but I didn't want to tell him that. So I want to make another one to kind of offset that one's not centered, and then I'll take a picture and I'll share it with you. So back to the whips. I started the year off like I said, working on whips. And the first thing I picked up and made a finish on was Uber Turkey. Now this is a Bent Creek design. I don't even, did I start it? Actually, I think I started this or actually I have it in here. I started this in October of last year. And so I wanted to finish this up for Thanksgiving, and it wasn't. It was finished in January 2021. But here he is. He is so cute. He was fun to stitch. I stitched him with the DMC Pearl Cottons, which was different for me. I'd not stitched one with that. The colors, I did make a mistake in some of the colors. I threaded up the wrong one in a couple places, but it doesn't matter because, you know, a turkey's fan is multicolored like that, so it looks great. And my plan will be to finish this one up and some kind of hanger later on this year and get this finished up and hanging for this November for Thanksgiving here in the US, because this is my favorite holiday. It's so much more low-key than Christmas. Christmas has its own feelings and emotions it brings with it, but Thanksgiving, the laid-back atmosphere, a little bit warmer weather, everything about it. I just love Thanksgiving, so I look forward to having this hanging and displayed when my family comes to have Thanksgiving dinner this year. So I started that one in October of 20 and finished it in January of 21. And I've got a stack here. So I finished 2 Afghans this year, and both of them, one of them was a whip. The other one I had the yarn but had never started it. And I'm going to share with you a quick picture because one was for my daughter Chelsea, and it's already been gifted to her in January. But here it is. She asked for tassels, which means my oldest daughter asked for tassels when I gifted her hers. But it made me feel really good. That was my third finish on a crochet afghan. And I had made one in December. It was called the Ripples of Joy afghan, and I had it on my couch and planned to keep it there all year. And my mom asks for it, and I just couldn't say no. So I know I can make another one for me, maybe later this year, maybe not. But it has been gifted, so I have none for myself. But that's okay. Isn't it better to give than to receive? I never fully understood that statement till I got older. It's so much better to give than to receive. So there's that. So I finished that. I started that actually in January of 2019. And I didn't finish it till January 2021. So 2 years in the making for that blanket for my daughter. But she now has it in her new home, and just so happens the colors of the afghan match her new home perfectly. And she moved in January. So actually at the end of December she moved in her new home, and they were decorating in January. So the next one I picked up was Southern Land by Al Forrest Embroidery. And this is one of my big finishes so far this year. I started this one in July of last year, so July 20, and I finished this on January, hold on just a second. Actually, I picked this up as a whip, so this will be a little out of order. I picked this up as a whip. I started it in July of 2021, but didn't finish it until February 7th. But I worked through on this in January and February. And I do plan on framing this one and hanging it at work. I'm a federal employee, so this will look really good. I think of it as a patriotic piece. And doing this 6-month in review reminded me that I had meant to have this framed and hanging in my office. So there's that. The other thing that I worked on in January and have continued is another whip. This is Margaret Cotton by, Lottie Daw Designs. And it's a 3-part mystery series. And I started this one, I moved to the office that I used to do this one as a lunchtime piece in my previous office, and I was there from 2015 till 2019. So sometime in there, I'd say between 16 and 19, I started this piece, 2016 and 19. But this is as far as I've gotten. I've noticed a change in my eyesight this year, so I've been struggling to see on the higher counts, and this is a 40 count. And I don't know whether it's the color of the weave. This is a Week Style Works Cocoa in the old base. I don't have a problem with the old base. Some people do, but I don't find it a pleasure to stitch on. And so for a long time, this is my piece that I would put in one thread before bed every evening. And I've moved on to one red thread before bed every evening. But this is the piece. And I did get a lot accomplished this year because I have brought the border down. I've put in and almost completed 2 additional rows. So I've gotten work. I don't know that I will finish it this year, but the point is I'm making progress on it, and that's the thing. So I'll continue to work on this one. And then I picked up on the 24th of January, I picked up and began an afghan for my daughter Jordan, which is my oldest daughter. And I finished that one on the 20th, is it 20th? Excuse me. On the 27th of February. So I'm going to flip over to February so I can show you the picture. And here it is. And she asked for the tassels as well, just as Chelsea did. And on inside my book of days, when I started using it last year, I was putting stickers on it as well. But I was doing it different than as decorator. I was putting a certain kind of sticker for a project as I worked on it. I'm doing it a little different now, and I'm only putting pictures in of the whips I work on that month, any full finishes that I do, or any finishes. So it makes it a little different. It's not, that leaves me a lot of room to make notes and note down what I'm stitching on certain days. And so for the month of January, I stitched or crocheted every day but 2, and that was on the 5th and the 17th. Every other day I worked on crochet or cross stitch. I also did a couple of finishes, fully finishes of previous year projects. And I want to share a couple. So this was just a craft, and I may do this as an upcoming tutorial if you all are interested, but this is an ornament. I had seen this somewhere. The first person I think I had either seen or noticed mentioned it. I don't remember that part, but I know it come from my friend Charlene, and I just kind of went with it and kind of made it my own. So you can see it. I did etch it, and I etched it with 2020. Can you see that as the light hits it? And these are my orts from 2020, both yarn and some yarn, not all, and my threads from finished projects I worked on in 2020. And for those that don't know what orts are, they're just the clippings of threads once you finish off a length of thread into your piece. As you cross stitch, there's always that tail. Those tails, I put them in a little ort container, and this is the one I've got going now. And when it gets full, I'll pop them into an ornament. I've already got one started for this year. And you see I've already got it stickered up in preparation, and just a little different font from this one. And then I have this displayed in a little wooden box that I painted. And this was a Prairie Schooler piece that I gave up on last year and restarted on another piece of fabric. And I didn't want to, I had put a lot of time into those stitches, and I didn't want to give up on it. So I turned it into an ornament, and it's displayed here with this bear. And I actually put this tray together with my friends, my giggles. We painted, and let me show you the bottom. We put the gingham fabric there on the bottom, or homespun. And this is an ornament. And I just display it like this, and it stays out all year long, even though it's Christmas. And that's that. Yep. I also made a finish on, this is a piece I got last year. I started and finished a piece by Sue Hillis. And when I ordered the pattern and the charms online, she sent a little complimentary pattern for making a purchase from her site, and I stitched it up during Mania of 2020. And this is the piece, and I can't remember the name of it. It's so, as in SEW something, but it's a complimentary design. It's not a freebie. You can't download it anywhere. But I turned it into this little pouch, and I had never made anything like this. It's a drawstring pouch, and I put green fabric, pulled the green out of the border of the piece, and put it on the edging of the pouch. And I have it displayed over here, and I also put a 2020 charm here because that's when I actually finished the piece. And this was pushing the borders of my abilities with sewing, and I had a great time. I learned a lot, and I've been doing that, as I was said earlier, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed this finished piece. So front and back. So let's flip on over to February. So in February, I did a full finish on another piece, and I haven't, since doing the video, I don't think I have ever done anything else, but I did I think I did sort of a tutorial of how I finished this up. But this is Cooper by Kathy Barrick. And I found this frame in Hobby Lobby. I took the glass out, and I mounted him on a piece of fabric that also put some decorative ribbon on there that kind of reminded me of the tree trunk that he is sitting upon. And I just folded over and whip stitched the edges of this piece so they're not perfectly straight, which is fine. And I pinned him on because there is a piece of batting behind this fabric. So I pinned him onto that, and you see he stays on, and you see there. And he's just up here in my stitch room with me, and I like him just how he is. But I'm not going to put the glass back in this in this frame. I have it for future projects. So I picked up a sampler story, and this is a piece I started in Mania 2018. I want to say I was at, what was it? Flosstube Retreat, New Jersey, where I met so many sweet Flosstubers there, people that I had always wanted to meet, and it was such a great time. But I started this there, and I was doing a start each day of the month. That's the reason I have so many whips. I did 2 Manias, one in, was it 8 and 15? I think it was 15, and then again in 18. And I did it last year, but I did it with smalls. Anything I finished last year, I had to have finished within May. I couldn't start big ones like this. But anyway, I started this one, and I'm more than halfway done. This is Brenda Keys of a sampler company, and this is Sampler Story. So I am a little past the halfway mark. I have started on the, what is that, 14th block. You can see the tops of there's 2 men there, and it's the tops of the hat. And when I last talked about this piece or showed it, someone told me the meaning of that block, and I can't wait to share that with you when I start working on this one again or pick it up as a whip. But I hope to get that one back to that one soon. So I started it on May 8, 2018, and look, is that right? Yeah, oh, okay, I see. That one, I didn't like the fabric. So when I picked it back up as a whip this year, I unpicked it and restarted it on a higher count fabric. Then I didn't like working it over too, so I unpicked it again and started it on a little bit higher fabric and didn't like that one. So I went right back. So I went from, was going to do it on 28, then I changed it to 32, and I went back to the 25 count, which is suggested by Brenda Keys in that pattern. So I ended up having to just put stitches in on one portion 3 times before I felt comfortable. And now I'm going, and there'll be no more picking out. But it's on 25 count, and it's using the called for DMC threads, all DMC, 1/1 on 25. All right. what else did I work on? I picked up another WIP and fully finished that one. And that is, this is Love, it's Love squared by the Sweetheart Tree. And so this is another new to me finish. I had seen, it was a Russian stitcher, had made an Instagram post, and when I went back and looked at it after I finished this, it was on a different Sweetheart Tree, which is funny to me. But it's just a threads keep, a beautiful threads keep, and these are some of the threads left over from this. But I had just had the outline of the frames of the letters. So I picked this up in February, or it's February. I started it on the 22nd of March 2017, and I finished it on February 27th, and then fully finished it there shortly after. So here's my finish. Now that fabric, so I have two pieces of mat board. Each one of them has a piece of quilt batting on top, and then the piece over it. And then I whip stitched the two pieces of mat board together and put a piece of ribbon over the edging just to hide that whip stitching. And I love it. So I also attached these rings, and thanks to you guys, you helped me find just what I was looking for, because everything I was looking for at the time was similar to key rings that had the indentation for you to slide the keys on, but I just wanted a circular ring. And I did finally find these, and I really like that, like how it turned out. It's a beautiful finish. So there's that. And then that was it for February. So in March, I picked up In My Father's House. I'm stitching this along with Millie Ellie Stitches and my friend Rhonda, who has finished hers. And this is by the Bay Needle Arts, In My Father's House. There's been a lot of response to this piece. A lot of people have bought it and jumped out and stitched it or started it. And the designer, her name is Donna Bayless, correct? Yes, had reached out just to thank me, and that was so sweet of her to do. But every time I think of that, you know, I've said it before, I feel like a lot of times designers are rock stars. So when they reach out and take the time to speak to me, it is just makes my heart skip a beat. But here's where I am on that one. And this was a piece that I had started May 11th, 2018. It was a Mania 2018 as well. So I think the last time I shared it with you all, I did not have the window framing in, and I'm working on that now. And I've put in the 4th chimney. And I hope this will be a finish this year as well. And so the next thing I picked up was Green Gables. This is a JBW Designs, and who also has a Flosstube. The designer for JBW Designs has a Flosstube. And I love her sweet, simple, feminine pieces. I have several of them, but I had saw this just by browsing her designs, purchased it, started it, shared it, and little did I know at the same time there was going to be fabric released, and I can't remember who put the fabric out, but also had Anne of Green Gables fabric. So I was rereading those beautiful stories, stitching this piece, and then I ordered the fabrics, and several of you have ordered this as well. And I just love this piece. So I do hope to frame this one as well. I was hoping to find a thrifted frame that would fit this one perfectly instead of having it professionally framed, but I'm so happy to have it. So I started this one on March 14th and finished it on March 20th. So that was a quick finish. Simple and sweet. And I did on the 13th, I did another fully finished of a prior piece. And this was a La-Di-Da free piece, free pattern. And it's listed on La-Di-Da's site. And this is A Fallen Leaf is Summer's Wave Goodbye. And my friend Natasha had gifted this to some of us at a PALS cross-stitch retreat along with the threads, and I stitched it up then, and I never did anything with it. And I decided, like I said, this year I was going to fully finish some prior finishes, and I made it into an insert for this bag, and I'm so happy to have it here. Like I've told you earlier today that Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. It's my favorite time of year, fall. And so now I have this to remind me of pals, to remind me of Natasha, and then I have it finished in a way I had never finished before, and I'm very happy with that as well. All right, let's move forward. So then on the 26th, I picked up and started, and then on the, and I actually finished it the same day. This is Under My Wing by Blue Ribbon Designs. I'm going to go ahead and show you both because I turned right around and finished this one the next month. She had two. There are downloadable patterns on her Etsy shop. And once again, it's Under My Wing. And I never have glued this one back in. If you watched the video where I showed the finish on the second one. Okay. I put the charms for 2021. And Helen D is the one that inspired me to do those. These are my finishes on those. So they're finished into the zinc ball canning jar lids. And I picked those up at an antique shop for like $2 and something. And I finished these pieces and I love them. So they're little pin keeps. I'll show you a little closer view. So this one was finished in April, but this one was finished in March on the 26th. I also fully finished in March. This is floral pin cup. This was a piece by Samplers Not Forgotten. I didn't write that down. Floral pin keep. This come out at market year before last, so 19. And I got the tin. It come with the cup. It come with this ribbon. It come with the design and the fabric and the threads, I believe, and the pins. But I don't know what I did with the pins, so they're not in here. But they had the pins, and so I fully finished it. This has been stitched since last year. I just have not put it into the cup until this year. And now that I had, a couple of weeks ago, I shared a tutorial for, I'm looking at the tiered tray with things from Dollar Store. It sits on that. So I've got several of these little finishes on that display, and I love it. And I can look at it. It's right over there as I'm stitching. So let's flip on over to April. Now, April, I picked up another whip because it's April. It's the month of Easter. It's the month of reflection of where you reflect. Why am I making this difficult? On the gift of salvation. And so I picked up this one. This is Praying Hands, Christ in Gethsemane. And I started this in who knows when. I want to say it was the late 90s. So this has to be one of my oldest whips. I still have a few, but this is one of my oldest. But I had lost the pattern, and I was searching through for something for someone else and ran across it. And the fabric that where I had started it was in with my whips. I knew where to find it, and I pulled it out, and I wanted to do it in April. I thought it was the perfect time. So I know I was going to do a stitch along with Fat Cat Flossing, and I was looking for a shepherd's bush, and I found the pattern for this. So didn't find the one I was looking for, but I found this one. But this is where I've gotten on this, and he's really coming to life. I think he's so handsome. And everyone's ready to see his face. Last time I showed it, they're wanting me to stitch his eyes and his mouth. I'll get to it, I promise. But this is one I want to have framed and displayed in my kitchen. So this is Christ in Gethsemane. And so I don't know when I started it, but I hope the finish will be this year. And then I finished the second Under My Wing, which I just showed you, and fully finished it. And then I started this piece on the 11th of April. My friend Christine and I traveled to Stitch and Frame in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I picked up this. It was shortly after market. And this is Mojo Stitches Red Work Sampler. I'm very close to a finish. I was hoping to finish this last weekend, and then when I've already shared with you what happened, so I've not stitched on it anymore. I'm very close to a finish. So a sweet friend has charted out rust work for me, and then I'm going to finish out the flowers here, and then there's one more motif below the word red work, but it's long and simple, and then a little bit of stitching here. So both of the corner motifs are finished. I probably have maybe a weekend of stitching, and I'm hoping, let me find this needle and then I'll keep talking. Okay, I'm hoping that I will be able to finish it maybe next weekend, hopefully. It's time. It's time. I've already picked out my next red sampler, and so this is the one I use for one red thread before bed, but I have not been able to stitch on it. So maybe by the end of the week, hopefully you'll see me back on there with one red thread before bed, and I can keep stitching along with everyone, and I can finish this up and make a start on my new one. But this is the only, no it's not. I've made 3 new starts this year. This one, and then the 2 under my wing pieces. They're all 3 starts from this year. So this would be my 3rd and start and full finish of this year. Okay. Then I picked up, I'm telling a big old lie. I don't know what I stitch and start anymore. This is my 4th start, and hopefully will be my 4th full finish of 2021. I picked up this one. This is Alphabet Zoo. This is by Blue Ribbon Designs, Belinda. She has a Flosstube as well as a, she's the one that did the Under My Wing zinc tin cup, the ball canning jar lids. This is hers as well. And I picked this up with my friend Mary. We hosted a stitch along, Blue Ribbon Designs Tax Day sale for Tax Day here in the US. So we started on April 15th, and I changed the color. This is cranberry, a silk color cranberry, and I changed it to DMC 3362, yes. And it's still in the hoop because I haven't touched it, and I need to get it out of this hoop, but it is loose. But this is where I'm at, and I had started on letter C. And this is a start from last year. I started it. I'm lying again. Y'all just don't listen to me. Take nothing I say and write it in stone. Alphabet Zoo was started last year. There was the expectation of a new child coming, and so I started it for the child, and then when we realized things weren't as we thought, I did put it down. So this piece is working through thoughts and emotions, but it is a WIP from last year, so I was correct originally. 3 new starts and hopefully 3 new finishes for this year. But once again, don't take anything I say and write it in stone. Okay, other than that, we're going to pop over to May, and I've made a finish, but there was also, I don't remember, was it in April or was it in February? We were all stitching along on Blackbird Designs the first Saturday of the month in support for Brenda. And so I picked up this WIP from 2018. This is Blackbird Designs, A Simple Wish. This was a class piece that's now in one of the books. And so this is my progress on it. So I worked on this, it must have been April. I went to visit my friend Natasha. It was May. May was the month that we picked this up. So we're flipping over to May. And so this I picked up the first weekend in May. I spent it stitching along with my friends Natasha and Kitty. And I did some of the light pink you see in the background, and see my nasty fingernail, but that's that. And so I'll continue to work on that in support of Brenda. And let's see what else. So one other finish. And this is for, now where did I stick it? There it is. I finished up 2 things in April and May. April, the last fully finished I did, this is Garden Treat by Hobnob Designs. And I finished this into a flange pillow. I used Vonna Pfeiffer's tutorial. This is a piece I did many years ago, and I loved these buttons with the little vegetables, the radish and the corn. I think the radish and the peas in the pod are my favorite ones. And once I finished it up and cinched up my back, the needle I used, I just left it in there. And this is displayed right in front of me, stays displayed. And then in May, I picked up this finish. This is, I'm told by someone else, I could not remember the designer because it's been a long time since I stitched it. I do remember stitching on it at another Pal's Cross Stitch Retreat in Myrtle Beach. But this is Dragonfly, I believe this is correct, by Elizabeth Designs. And so I made a scissors pillow. And so I did the little X square, lifted it, stuffed it, turned it, and this is my little patch that I actually sewed on freehand, and you can see it's not exact. And I have a pair of scissors snug down in here, and this stays on my tiered tray as well. And then I had another finish this year that I shared with you in my last video. This is Valentine Row by Bent Creek Design. This finish was inspired by Helen D here on Flosstube. She inspires me a lot. A through Z, but this is Valentine Row. My first drum pillow finish. I learned a lot with this one. I will do others again, just not this big. I want to do something much smaller next time. But I'm happy with this finish as well. And this too is displayed right in front of me so I can see it. So I hope you all have enjoyed going back and reviewing my finishes and my whips and my fully finishes pieces for January 2021 through June of 2021. And I hope to see you again next week. So if you have any questions, any comments, just leave them down below. I'll try to answer any questions that I receive. And I want to thank you all again for taking the time to spend a few moments of your Sunday visiting with me and let me talk to you about my cross-stitch adventures. Until next time, have a great week. Hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.